correct the punctuation of this script, she said. You work here as a janitor. Ha, must be tough being poor. Those condescending words came from Cindy, my brother's wife. Even after not seeing each other for a while, she said this with a snide laugh. For a while now, I've been aware that she doesn't hold me in high regard. I had hoped we drifted apart enough that I'd never have to encounter her again. How mistaken I was. But this time, I refused to yield. The mere fact of her presence here, well, you'll soon understand. Suppressing the chuckle, I maintain my composure and reply. Her expression freezes in an instant as my words sink in. My name's Lita, 30 years old. At home, it's me, my husband Lucas, and our daughter Layla. Lucas and I, we've been an item since college days. Started dating after we both joined the same club. 4 years into dating, we tied the knot when I hit 26. Next thing we knew, we welcomed Layla into our lives, smooth sailing all through the pregnancy. 3 years on, she's thriving, not a single health hiccup in sight. Sadly, Lucas' folks aren't around anymore to witness her growth. But my parents? They're pouring all their love onto her, making up for the missing grandparents. Our condo sits just a 10-minute drive away from my childhood abode. Originally, Lucas and I were slated to remain there. My parents had hoped we'd stay under the same roof after tying the knot. Life was serene dwelling with my gentle husband and affectionate parents. However, that tranquility was shattered about 6 months into our union. Enter my brother Cedric, along with his wife. I hadn't laid eyes on him in nearly 5 years. Cedric had severed ties with our parents, dropped out of college, and vanished from home. His whereabouts remained a mystery until he sent a text announcing his marriage. Not a word of congratulations, and he was conspicuously absent from family gatherings, including our wedding. So, you can fathom my astonishment and ire when he suddenly reappeared. Yet I resolved to lend him an ear. What he and his wife divulged, however, far surpassed our expectations. Upon his return home after years, he confronted Dad, saying, "Dad, Cindy and I have made the decision to move in here with you." What in the world? You've been MIA for years, and now you just waltz back in? Listen, I understand it's not ideal, but I'm married now, and living with you seems like the least I can do, doesn't it? Don't be absurd. You didn't even bother showing up to Lita's wedding. Well, I apologize for that, but as your son, it's my obligation to be here. So Lita and her husband will have to find another place. Suddenly, a chill fills the room, leaving even Dad speechless. In the midst of this tense atmosphere, I find my voice. Wait just a minute. You can't simply barge in here and declare that Lucas and I are moving out. And why not? Are you just trying to butter up Dad to snag the house for yourselves? What? That's absurd. I simply want to be close to my parents. You're just a daughter. A son, especially the eldest like me, takes precedence even in matters of living arrangements. Just because you're the son, just because you're the oldest. So what? You dropped out of college by your own choice. You left home by your own choice. I can't tolerate this nonsense any longer. Just leave. I seize my brother by the arm and usher him towards the front door. Our argument persists even as we stand by the threshold, but Cindy interjects. Let's just head home for today. Reluctantly, my brother departs. The ordeal leaves my parents and husband utterly exhausted. We're all anxious about what my brother might do next. A few days later, the doorbell chimes. As I swing open the door, a stranger stands on the threshold, accompanied by a mover's truck parked outside. Perplexed, I inquire, "Are you from the moving company? I believe you may have the wrong address." "Nope, this is the correct address. We're here to handle the move for Cedric." "Cedric? My brother? Ah, I see, your family. My apologies, please come in." "Wait, just a moment." The mover signals his crew, and soon several men begin ferrying boxes into our house. I had no inkling about my brother's move, not a single word. With my parents away, I couldn't verify with them. Fearing I might be the last to know, I hurried upstairs to find my husband. "Lucas, have you heard anything about my brother moving in?" "What? What are you saying? That's impossible." "Then come see for yourself. Movers are bringing in his belongings." "What? This is news to me." "Forget it, just come." I tug my husband downstairs. The hallway is already cluttered with boxes and the movers are swiftly adding more. My husband attempts to intervene, but they counter. "We're simply following instructions. Your family, correct?" We attempt to reach my brother, but there's no response. Our calls to my parents go unanswered as well. Their phones are on silent. Eventually, all the boxes are inside, and the movers depart without a further word. Confronted by the stack of boxes, we both grapple to comprehend what's unfolding. What's happening? Why does my brother have all this stuff here? Is he planning to move in without informing Dad or us? We ponder the worst-case scenario, opting to await our parents' return to strategize. However, an hour later, it's my brother and his wife who arrive first. Hey, Lita, we're moving in. You better clear out. Brother, did you really move your stuff here without informing anyone? Why? This was originally my home. What's the issue with bringing my belongings back? What? Amidst our argument, a mocking laugh echoes from behind. I whirl around to find Cindy sporting a smug grin. Catching my stare, she offers a faux apology, devoid of any sincerity. Then, she proceeds to taunt me with a brazen remark. So, you must be Lita, huh? Can't seem to heed Cedric's wishes or something. How juvenile can you get? Pardon me, what's all this about? Just for the record, my brother made the decision to leave college and move out on his own. Why dredge this up now? Haven't you heard? Cedric's moved back in to reside with your parents. Quite the dutiful son, isn't he? Listen, we never asked for any of this. This is our home, where my husband and I reside, so please kindly leave. Too late, we've already relinquished our condo. What? Regardless, it's you two who need to vacate, not us. Best of luck. With that, Cindy and my brother proceed to unpack. Later, when my parents return home, they confront my brother, yet he and his wife adamantly refuse to depart. From that moment onward, life takes a turn for the worse. Every day, my husband and I endure insults from my brother and Cindy. They casually use and damage our belongings. When we demand an apology, they brush it off with, "We're family, so what's the big deal?" Even when my pregnancy is confirmed, Cindy remarks, "Lita, you're just a homemaker, aren't you? And Lucas's company is merely average. Your child will be born into poverty. It's quite pitiful. Why are you having a baby before us? Can't you see the situation?" I feel my mental state beginning to deteriorate. Eventually, simply being in their presence brings tears to my eyes, and I find myself retreating to my room, spending entire days locked away. Witnessing this, my parents suggest to my husband that we consider parting ways. If anything were to happen to our unborn child, it would be too late. It seems my parents convinced my husband to swiftly find a new place for us to live away from their home. Without delay, he secures a new residence, and we relocate. Life suddenly becomes serene as if the past were a distant fabrication. While the initial period post-move feels uncertain, with my husband's unwavering support, I manage to navigate through. I remove my brother's contact from my phone and implore my parents not to disclose our address to him and Cindy. Gradually, my parents begin visiting us frequently, seemingly disregarding my brother and Cindy at the family abode. They inquire about the living expenses and rent they'll be covering for us. When my brother and Cindy refuse to contribute, my parents start discarding their belongings into the yard. Unable to endure such treatment, they eventually relocate. Nearly 3 years have passed, and I haven't laid eyes on them. Though we toyed with the idea of moving back in with my parents, the uncertainty of my brother's return kept us from considering it seriously. Living under the same roof wasn't an option I was willing to entertain. Additionally, our family home was showing signs of age. Lately, the idea of my parents relocating to our condo had been floated. And then, just like any other day, as I stepped out the front door for a bit of shopping, I spotted a familiar face. Instantly, a wave of unpleasant memories washed over me. "Oh my gosh, is that you, Lita?" Oh dear, it was Cindy who greeted me with those words. "Why are you here?" "Why wouldn't I be? I'm just here to explore this fancy apartment building." "Explore? You're not thinking of moving in here with my brother, are you?" "Well, that's a secret, but bumping into you is quite the unexpected twist. Still facing financial struggles?" "Excuse me." Struggling with amusement, Cindy flashed a smug grin. Then she gestured towards my outfit and continued, "That inexpensive sweater and those skinny jeans. Money must be tight for you, huh? Heading out of here looking like that, I see. What are you implying?" "Poor dear, you have a child now, don't you? It's just so unfortunate." "What's unfortunate about it? My husband and I are contentedly raising our child." "Don't get all defensive. Someone like you with no redeeming qualities shouldn't even be having a kid. Talk about delusional." Cindy burst out laughing. That was the final straw. I reached my limit. Nothing had changed since our last encounter. If anything, she seemed even more intent on tearing people down. I couldn't tolerate it any longer. I'd had enough. I steeled myself, preparing to respond. Look, what's your problem? I understand you don't like me, but can we just avoid getting involved with each other? What's the rush? Worried I caught you at your most pathetic moment. What are you talking about? Don't act clueless. You're a janitor here, right? Must be rough, struggling financially. Laughter. As it turned out, she mistook me for a janitor, not a resident. It was an understandable error. The high-end apartment building I resided in was so luxurious that it seemed improbable we could afford it solely on my husband's income. Cindy, aware of my husband's workplace, presumed our financial constraints. With a contemptuous tone, she pressed on. It's absurd. You're resorting to working as a janitor just to be near this place. You must be truly desperate. Laughter. Lita, can you stop jumping to conclusions? I'm not the janitor. Oh, lighten up. How about this? I'll keep quiet about seeing you here to Cedric. But in return, starting today, you'll be my servant. You'll do whatever I say. Got it. She's assuming I'm the janitor in this upscale apartment building and making a childish demand. I've reached my limit. It's time to bring her back to reality. Excuse me, what exactly are you misunderstanding? This is my residence. Cindy, who had been grinning just moments ago, now freezes in disbelief. Ignoring her obvious astonishment, I continue. Allow me to clarify. This is the place where I reside, and it's owned by my husband. Wait, what are you saying? Ignoring her shock, I press on. This luxury apartment was initially among the properties owned by my husband's parents. Now, it's passed on to my husband, who manages it through a real estate agent. The reason my husband swiftly found us a new home is because he owns this place. It was inherited from his parents and was originally designated for renting out. He arranged it to shield me from my brother and his wife. Recently, I've started assisting the real estate agent to ease my husband's workload. Her name should have rung a bell for me from the beginning. My husband and I never spotted my brother's or Cindy's names on the list of potential renters provided by the real estate agent. Cindy, who did you come here with today? What? I came with Cedric, obviously. I didn't hear my brother's name from the real estate agent. So you arrived with someone else. Impossible. I came with Cedric. And at that moment, an unfamiliar man hurries up from behind her and says, Sorry for the delay. He drapes his arm around Cindy's waist and plants an affectionate kiss on her cheek. In that instant, the pieces fall into place for me. Cindy too senses that I've caught on, hastily distancing herself from the man. I ain't sure he can hear me as I speak up. Cindy, are you certain it's appropriate to be in this situation? Engaging in such gallivanting as a housewife. You might exhaust my brother, you know. Hey, what are you implying? Oh, what do we have here? A married woman out on a date with another man? Or is he simply a friend? I need to inform my brother. Please just stop. Her plea is desperate, tears glistening in her eyes. But I can't hold back any longer. Addressing her firmly, I ignore her silent pleas, determined not to let any more unwarranted remarks slip. You've got some nerve, don't you? Bringing misery, pushing people to their breaking point. And you haven't changed at all. And now, you're cheating. You've hit rock bottom. Wait, Lita, please. Enough. Because of you and my brother, I've endured so much. How dare you ridicule others without a hint of remorse? I'll never forgive either of you. You'll feel the agony I've endured, and then some. At my words, she crumples to the ground, sobbing uncontrollably. And just like that, Cindy's affair is exposed. Upon my report to my brother, it's revealed she was also concealing her existing marriage, and had been urging her lover to purchase this upscale apartment for her. Caught in the act, Cindy finds herself sued for marriage fraud by her lover. Shockingly, my brother is also discovered to be having an affair with a coworker. His infidelity is unveiled around the same time at his workplace, resulting in his demotion to a provincial office. Cindy purportedly follows him, yet they both continue to blame each other for their misfortunes. Both are slapped with hefty fines, Cindy by her lover and my brother by the lover's spouse. Unable to cover the expenses with Cindy's former housewife status and my brother's reduced salary, they resort to illegal lenders. Recently, it seems they have a long road ahead to straighten out their lives. And no, I won't be lending a hand. As for me, life continues to be blissful with my family of 3. Thanks to my husband's kindness, my parents will also be relocating to the same high-rise apartment building next month. While we won't be sharing a living space, it's another means of staying close to them. I couldn't be more thankful to my husband. I intend to embrace life to the fullest, cherishing those dear to me.